day of streaming. We had 3 singles and 3 doubles. We hope you're all enjoying the live streaming. Joining me for this match is Tim Baghurst. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Tim, not only representing for the International Racquetball Federation, but you were also playing for Team England.
It's a loose term, playing, Laura. Yeah, I lost this morning in the white division. Good match, lost to a 6'7" Korean, which was a new experience for me. He played very well, deserved to win. Enjoyed it, but I'm actually a little relieved to be done as well. It's really hard out here physically, trying to play competitively and do a variety of other things for the IRF, which I also enjoy doing. But here we have a match between Bolivia and Ecuador. On paper, it's not clear who's going to be the favorite. Both of these teams are excellent. Both of them play together a lot. Should be a very exciting match.
Go first point for Bolivia.
Skip ball there from Ecuador. Replays the decision there, Laura. Probably the correct decision. It kicked out.
Court hinder, I guess. They're off the wall.
Kicked out from the wall, yeah. Sotomayor could have taken the shot. She was probably clear, Riveros, but held up and safety hold up. So Ecuador back in the box. This time they have a chance to score. 0 serving 2. Good shot there.
First point for Ecuador.
Doubles is a very different game to singles, and a lot of these players play singles and doubles, but there's just a different feel when you're playing doubles. You have somebody in there with you as your partner, and singles players don't always make good doubles players. Oftentimes when these players play professionally, they play with someone from another country because they work better as a team. But at the IRF World Championships, of course, they have to play with somebody on their own country, and that creates some different dynamics. Avoidable hinder called.
Looks like they were thinking about the appeal on a Bolivia.
That's right, they have 5 appeals. They're looking to their coach, who's actually a doubles player, Carlos Keller. He's playing later today.
Strong forehands coming out of Bolivia right there.
Both of these Bolivians have been playing singles. Sotomayor on the left for Ecuador, played singles. Maria Paz Munoz has just played doubles, so she should be pretty fresh.
Ooh,
wow.
That ball just making it to the front wall.
A bit of luck, but if you don't swing, you never know.
It's true. Well, Bolivia leading now 3-2.
High lob. Good serve. It's going to come off the back wall. Good shot there from left-sided player Riveros. Oh, skip was called.
They're going to appeal it.
And both line judges overturned the referee. Good shot. That's the advantage, Laura, of having the appeal system here. Make sure that the correct call is almost always called.
Jammed up there on the left side. things I do love is Sotomayor's backhand swing. She gets that 2 hands on the racket.
Yeah, it's an interesting technique. You don't see most people do it, but it works really well for her.
I find it works for me too. That's why I like it.
Nice reverse pinch there from Jenny Daza. Most people might not be familiar with the Bolivian players just because they tend not to play on the professional tours. But the Bolivians have a very, very strong representation here and have consistently at these World Championships. They have a large number of courts.
Yeah, there is a big racquetball following out of Bolivia.
Maria Paz can't put it down. Sotomayor gets a chance. Beautiful shot from her.
Yeah, nice swing from Sotomayor.
2014 Pan American Championships were held in Bolivia. Last year, Dominican Republic. This year, San Luis Potosí, Mexico. Next year, they're going to be held in Costa Rica. 2 serving 5. Pan American Championships are held every year as part of the Pan American Racquetball Confederation. Pan American Games are held once every 4 years. Racquetball is included, but so are about 30 other sports. We had that last year in Toronto, and it was an amazing event to be a part of something so big, such as the Olympics. There's an appeal here.
It looked like a kill from Daza.
One agree, one disagree. Call stands.
Called a skip. That was a great kill.
You saw Daza's expression.
Yeah.
But you got to overcome bad decisions and get on with it.
Kill the next one. There she goes.
Good shot from her. Lob down the middle. Kicks out to the middle. Back to the ceiling. Sotomayor. Jenny Daza is going to take this one. Long rally. Wow. Maria Paz took that above the shoulders, went down the line, got stuck on the glass.
Yeah, that was
4
a nice
serving 5.
overhead shot.
Beautiful from Daza in the back. You saw Riveros kind of push up into the middle, so she covered the front. Daza then went behind her to cover the backcourt, kind of that I formation rather than playing side to side. Good shot from Daza again. She seems to be the one dictating play for the Bolivians. Riveros is a good player in her own right. Both of them are excellent singles players, but part of this dynamic is working out who's going to be the one who takes the shots and who's going to be the one who plays defense to some extent.
A lot of communication in doubles. Looks like these guys are going to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back right after this. We're back at the International Racquetball Federation 18th World Championship with our first doubles match of the day. This is the quarterfinals with Bolivia against Ecuador. Bolivia leading now 6-4 in game 1. Anything anything can happen. We've seen some really interesting matches so far today. We had 3 singles matches. The first match of the day, Salas versus Amaya, going to tiebreaker. Salas winning that one. Carson and Mar facing off, with Carson winning in 2. And then the match we just had was Rios and Moscoso. Moscoso winning in 3. You want to check out those results, you can go to International Racquetball.
Excellent shot there from Sotomayor. Most people expected her to go down the left. So did the Bolivian player. She went cross court. Really nice shot.
Oh. I didn't think that made the front wall.
Well, if the Bolivians lose this, I expect an appeal.
Yeah, I saw Riveros was on my side.
Example of this I formation. Beautiful forehand pinch from Jenny Daza. She's playing quite nicely right now.
Their team coach there. Also the doubles player Carlos Keller reminding them that Jenny Daza was serving.
To get it back. This is a good rally. Oh, that's tough.
It's that sidewall glass here at Club Cañas Gordas. We have a show court that has back wall and sidewall glass, and that definitely adds another element to the game.
Absolutely. It made the front wall. Ecuador just needs to settle down a little bit. Munoz tends to take most of the shots with this team, and she's hitting it pretty hard right now. And maybe she just needs to take a little bit of pace off and get some balls into the backcourt. Right now, there's a lot coming off the back wall. Munoz just seems to be trying a little too hard, trying to be too accurate rather than just settling in and playing a little bit more percentage. Good
nice
get from Munoz. Avoidable hinders the call. They're going to appeal.
Yeah, they're going to appeal.
Avoidable hinders agreed with by both line judges. Something I would probably agree with too. Failure to move. Bolivians were in the way of that shot. As a consequence, here we have Ecuador serving, trying to get some more points on the board. Replay call.
Is that due to a court hinder?
Yeah, there's no declared court hinders, but the referee has the opportunity if there's an awkward bounce off some of these glass panels. They're not exactly flush with each other. And so when you look inside the court, you can see that at times they're a little bit bowed. So if it hits an edge, you get a weird bounce. The referee can call for a replay. Lights are another example.
Nice backhand from Sotomayor. 10-5. Just short of the front wall for Daza. Another point for Ecuador.
I get the feeling if the Bolivians can play clean, avoid those skips, I think they have a very good chance of taking this match. Ecuador seem to be the ones making more mistakes. But if they keep doing that like Daza just did, you're giving those free points away rather than making Ecuador finish the point.
Yeah, looks like Bolivia is feeling the pressure now, calling the timeout. We'll see what they come back with in just a moment. We're back in game one of Bolivia women's doubles against Ecuador. Bolivia feeling the pressure, calling that timeout. We'll see what they can come back with. They are still leading 10-7, but Ecuador in the service box now really starting to turn things up.
It was a good timeout, Laura. They skipped 2 in a row. You have 3 timeouts. Now they're up by 3 instead of 5. And so it's just a change of momentum, regroup, figure things out. Maybe it's that idea of, you know what, let's not try to go for too much. Let's put it on Ecuador to try to roll this ball out. We're doing it. We're giving them free points. We'll see if that worked and they can get back in the service box. Sotomayor really taking over that point, keeping Munoz to the side. She wanted that one. Some good shots from her. Soft hands there from Daza. That's a nice touch. Took some pace off the ball. Nick lob. Sotomayor goes to the ceiling. Attack by Riveros. Another skip. Having watched Riveros in the singles this week, she can be very on or very off. She really goes for her shots, and if she's on, she's untouchable, but she can also skip a lot. So we'll see if she kind of goes through those phases.
Yeah, see how that affects this match.
Shot by Daza.
Yeah, not working.
There's another example of what I was just saying. She didn't move her feet. She just waited for it to come around and took a wild swing.
I was going to say, yeah, she seemed to kind of be waiting for that to just line up, and it didn't.
This is a long tournament. It's the longest tournament these players will play this year. And so it does take its toll when they're playing singles and doubles. This is a very hot and humid environment. And if players don't take care of their bodies, eat and drink correctly, after 4, 5, 6 days, it really starts to wear on you and you start making mistakes.
That's right, the event started on June 14th. These players played a round robin to kind of even out the seeding, and then playoffs started 2 days ago, yesterday. I don't know, it's getting a little wompy for me too. Maybe I'm not staying hydrated over here. July 14th. That would be incredibly long if it was June.
Good serve there from Riveros. Good shot there from Munoz. It was definitely 2 bounces. Great shot there from Sotomayor. We're only down by 4. In doubles, you find that there's a lot more runs just because both players have a chance to serve. Singles, a little bit more side outs, less likely to see somebody run out 4 or 5 points in a row, but in doubles, when both players have a chance to serve, they can definitely do that.
Bolivia calling another timeout. We'll see what happens when we come back. There's more of Bolivia versus Ecuador in just a few moments. We're back live at the International Racquetball Federation World Championships. Bolivia calling the timeout here in our women's doubles match. Coming up after this, we do have 2 more racquetball matches that we will be streaming. We have Colombia versus Japan in men's doubles, and then Canada versus Bolivia in men's doubles. So don't go anywhere. There is more racquetball here today. Plus, tomorrow, we'll be live streaming the semifinals. That schedule will be determined later tonight. We'll get it posted up on the International Racquetball Federation Facebook. And the finals will be live streaming on Saturday.
I want to recognize our head official, Tuki Kravitz from Mexico. He's a regular at these World Championships, an excellent referee. If you're interested, I interviewed him yesterday. It's on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, youtube.com. Search for International Racquetball Federation, find our channel.
And subscribe.
And subscribe, of course. Get emails when we add new material, which we do regularly. Here there was an appeal that was upheld by the line judges. Avoidable hinder. But yeah, I asked him a little bit about what life was like as an official and why he does it. And we've got officials from 7 different countries here, and we want to say that we appreciate all the work they do to keep these matches going, keep them fair. I know the coaches, players, and delegates really appreciate it as well.
Tough rally.
It's a bit wild right now.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to settle it down. Here we go, Munoz. Oh my goodness.
Never
Somebody,
ending.
who's it gonna be? No one wants to lose a rally like this.
Right. Oh my.
Good get from Sotomayor. To the ceiling. Back to the ceiling.
This one might never end.
Oh,
wow.
there it is.
Wow. Amazing from Riveros. Nice.
At the controls, Pablo. Thanks for all you do to make sure that we catch all of this action live on our website. Oh, skip ball from Sotomayor. Game point here for the Bolivians. Good pass from Sotomayor.
And again, Sotomayor kind of dominating that rally there for Team Ecuador.
Yeah, it stayed on the left, and it was just a battle of which one was going to hit the better shot. That time, instead of hitting the sidewall, cutting to the middle, it stayed and slid down the side. Much better shot. Good serve there. First game. One thing quickly, Laura, that I would encourage Bolivia to watch with Sotomayor, she rarely pinches it. She tends to hit very straight, cross court and down the line. And so I think if I'm their coach, Sudzi Munchik, I'm suggesting maybe she hits some pinches. The Bolivians are tending to sit back on that. They know that she's going to go straight almost always. As a consequence, they can sit back and wait for that as opposed to not knowing what choice she's going to make. She does tend to go straight down the line or cross court. Bolivians don't have to push up for that pinch. Maybe it's because she's uncomfortable doing it. If you're uncomfortable doing it, you don't want to start doing it in a match like this. But that's something that he may encourage her. Surely she has the shot selection, as experienced and as highly ranked as she is to make that shot. But they tend to sit back a little bit. She should have some openings there.
Be interesting to see what Ecuador does to shake things up against Bolivia. We'll be right back with game 2, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. 18th IRF World Championships, Cali, Colombia. We're about to start game 2 of this women's doubles match between Bolivia and Ecuador. Bolivia took the first game 15-9. Shot from Munoz. Good pinch from her. Another great serve. Daza did well to get that back. Nice from Riveros on the left for Bolivia. They get a side out. Looks like a nick lob to the left. Been consistently doing that. You can see when she serves, puts a little top spin on it.
Interesting.
You watch, she kind of rolls over it, almost like a top spin in tennis.
Yep.
Munoz going to the ceiling multiple times. That last one didn't hit the front wall. Stuck in her feet. Yeah, that's an interesting serve. What that kind of does is when you hit that top spin, it hits that sidewall and really kicks across to the middle. If you get that wrong, though, it really kicks across to the middle, puts you out of position. Skip from Munoz.
By Sotomayor.
Skip ball. That's correct call. You saw Sotomayor, though, she had multiple opportunities there to hit that pinch I was talking about.
Yeah.
She keeps hitting it back to the Bolivians who are just waiting for it. They're playing a little bit cleaner, the Bolivians, of course, until that last rally. Replay. Looks like a hinder. Court hinder.
Big skip for Daza.
Shot from Daza. Munoz went for too much there. You saw her take that ball really high and try to pinch it out. And when that didn't work, it put them out of position because the ball came back to the middle. It's an ambitious shot. Beautiful from Daza. That was really nice. Waited for it to come down. Hit it to the side that was open. There's an example of that serve that I just mentioned, that if you get it wrong, it really cuts across the middle, forces Riveros to the right. Sotomayor with a great shot down the line. It's exactly the right decision.
make it 4-3.
Two serving 3.
Oh, 2 serving 3.
Good example of attacking a weak return from Munoz. Doubles, there tends to be a lot more ceiling balls played than in singles. And in that situation, Munoz had the middle of the court, and with quick reflexes, you can attack that shot as opposed to going up to the ceiling. Good hands from Sotomayor. Oh, wow. Skip called.
That's tough.
Couldn't see it from here.
Ecuador.
It's a wide angle pass. Bolivians have a little conversation. Probably just a word of encouragement.
Looks like it worked. Whatever Daza whispered into Riveros here.
Yeah, that ball kicked across to the middle. Riveros went down the left side. Excellent shot. Good serve. Equally good return. See how far these players are staying back. Oh, that was unlucky. Ball kicked off the back wall awkwardly. But they all count. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. It's tied up, 4 serving 4.
Daza's still moving there and skipping it.
Yeah, that was a situation with communication. Riveros might have taken that and called Daza off it because she would have had the better shot. Again, there's a lot of team cohesion in doubles that, of course, doesn't exist in singles. And 2 good players don't always play well together. That being said, these 2 teams have played together for a long time. Jenny Daza wants a replay. No appeal. You have 5 appeals. Laura, I might have appealed that.
Didn't even use one. They were using a lot of appeals in game 1.
I think that was worth an appeal. She might have been able to get there. Convince the 2 line judges anyway. You never know.
It's worth it.
Very smooth shot from Jenny Daza. 2 bounces before the back wall. Again, though, it was a poor serve, came across the middle, forced Munoz to the left. Here's our appeal. Skip is called. Both line judges agree. Commentators agree. Bolivia take a timeout.
It's all tied up now, 5-5. We'll be right back with more of game 2, so don't go anywhere. Well, we're back at the IRF 18th World Championship. We'd like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors for making this event possible, including Penn, the official ball of the International Racquetball Federation, and eForce. ¿Quieres ganar? Okay. And of course, I'd like to thank Tim Baghurst for joining me on the mic and talking us through this game. There is a couple more matches still to come today. Colombia versus Japan in men's doubles is coming up right after this. And then our final streaming of the day will be Canada versus Bolivia.
One of the things I love about
Men's
the World
doubles.
Championship is the fact that you just don't know who's going to win, especially once you hit the quarterfinals. There are so many upsets at this level just because these teams are so good. And it just takes 1 or 2 points sometimes, or just one person just to have a slightly off day and you've got an upset.
Wow, Riveros.
Good timeout, huh?
That's right. That's what we like to see from a timeout. So far, it looks like it works for most people.
Yeah, Gary and I mentioned this earlier in one of our matches that in close games, about 75% of the time we think that taking the timeout earns the person taking the timeout that rally win. Of course, don't have any statistics to support that, but I rely on Gary's 40 years in racquetball. Hall of Fame, by the way, in the IRF.
Nice.
Inducted in 2012. Replay's called. There's an appeal from Ecuador.
Oh.
So, a replay was called. Ecuador appealed, it was overturned, and so instead of a replay hinder, we have an avoidable hinder, half out.
It's a good appeal by Ecuador.
There's a replay called. Yeah, Laura, in that situation, it's a similar situation to the rally we just had. Bolivians have the appeals available. They might get that call, but there's no argument. Good serve.
Wow, Daza.
Yeah, official Morales next to me just looked at me and said, yeah, they should have appealed that. That was an avoidable.
I feel like if you have them and you have 5,
Just
it's
like
worth
timeouts.
It's worth it to use them.
Just like timeouts.
Could be a gift.
Good shot there for Ecuador. They're back in the box. Down 5-6. Drive serve. Hits her partner. So we have one serve rule. We've talked about this earlier today. It's switching to a 2 serve on September 1st. World Congress voted a variety of rule changes, primarily just to speed up the game. I'm not convinced that switching to a 2 serve is going to speed up the game, but it was at the request of the athletes that they switched to 2 serves.
Interesting.
We have an athlete rep, Vincent Gagnon from Canada. He's taking a year off. I believe he's having his 2nd child, so congratulations to them.
Very nice.
But he did a survey of the players to find out what they thought, and the vast majority asked for 2 serves.
Well, it's definitely nice that the players have a voice, of course.
So we have a discussion here about what's going on. Jenny Daza is appealing. I think she was unsighted. One line judge disagrees, one agrees. We're at 6 serving 6. Yeah, I think one of the arguments for going back to 2 serves is that all the professional tours have 2 serves. Nice shot there from Daza.
Playing pretty solid this match.
Forehand pinch. The professionals have 2 serves, and in fact the IRF is the only place where there is 1 serve. So it's just different, and it kind of limits their potential. Most players go for a Z serve or a lob serve just because they don't want to make the mistake, as opposed to really accentuating what they're good at, which is a drive serve. It's too risky, though. If they do get it short, it's an automatic side out. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes. Some players may rely on their serve, and this provides them with a much better advantage than they currently have. Good serve provides a setup for Sotomayor. Goes down the line. There's the pinch that I wanted Sotomayor to take earlier in that point. She had both Bolivians in the backcourt. The whole front court was open. She went back down the line. Bolivians were able to stay in the rally. As a consequence, it was the Bolivians who took the shot that ended that rally. Ace serve from Sotomayor.
Nice serve.
Kicked off the back wall. This is getting tight, Laura.
That's what we like to see. Well, Ecuador did get the advantage there. Bolivia's opportunity now.
See how the Bolivians are doing a
I
formation. There's the pinch from Munoz. Good shot from her.
Tough against that sidewall glass.
Yeah, I hope those of you at home can see what I'm trying to point out with Sotomayor. She's consistently going down that line across court. That time, skip ball. I'd really like to see her develop that pinch just to allow the Bolivians to second guess themselves. Right now, they're just sitting back on that. She's a good player, don't get me wrong. She's hitting that really crisply. But in doubles, it's so much harder to win a point from just hitting the ball back to your opponent.
Looks like it's Ecuador's turn to call a timeout. Let's see if they re-strategize and come back with a new answer in game 2. We'll be right back. We're back at the IRF 18th World Championships. Ecuador calling that timeout. They're down by 2. Tim, what are your thoughts so far now in game 2?
Yeah, Ecuador and Bolivia are just scrapping it out. There's some good shots, but there's also some just wild swinging at times, and sometimes when the tension is there, you're fighting for a medal, you tend to maybe overswing instead of just playing your game, and that's a mental problem.
That's true.
Easier said than done to fix, because we've all been in that tight situation where we want to win, and so we try and force things that we're not able to. Riveros there, though, rolled that ball out on her backhand. That's why she plays that side. You mentioned our 2 primary sponsors, eForce and ProPen. We play with the green ball. Also play with the green ball at juniors and seniors events. But people
Green
watching,
ball is the official ball of the
that's
IRF.
right, and eForce, and we should also mention that the IRF is a 501c3 nonprofit, so if you're interested in perhaps advertising on this channel, you should contact us on the internationalracquetball.com website. We'd love to have you on board and not only contribute to racquetball, but promote whatever it is you're interested in promoting. Daza, meanwhile, another great shot.
10 serving 7.
Munoz went for the pinch.
That's tough.
She went for the pinch, but it stayed up. It didn't stay down. 3 quick points for the Bolivians.
And then an unfortunate big skip kind of.
Yeah, there was a wry smile between those two. She really messed that one up.
That's tough.
Ecuador needs to take a timeout right now. They've lost 4 points in a row. Bolivians are 3 points away from this match. They need to slow things down and regroup.
Yeah, they got to do something to
2
stop
points.
this momentum.
The Bolivians can smell the home stretch. It's getting closer.
Oh.
Now 1 point. Big skip from Munoz.
Well,
Laura, I'm astonished that they haven't taken a timeout just to slow things down.
I mean, again, it's like if you have it, you need to do something. Ooh, Munoz said, no, we don't need it, Tim.
It's a great shot from Munoz.
Looks
Bolivia appeal.
Bolivia's going to appeal, which I feel like is smart. You might as well just throw it out there and use one of your appeals.
Absolutely. To be honest, for the head referee, Tuki Kravitz, it's incredibly difficult to referee doubles. You have 4 players flying around the court. The balls are hit 2 inches above the floor, sometimes 1 inch, and you have to make a decision when there's 4 people in front of you whether it skipped or it didn't.
And they still have the elements at bay as well, including, you know, the different glares, and the walls, people in the way. You're right. That's tough.
Yeah, I've refereed several different sports, and I have to say this is by far the most difficult, just because of the environment that you're placed in outside the court. So the line judges have a different angle, and sometimes they see things that the referee just can't see. That's why they have them. So yeah, you've got to use your appeals if you think there's a questionable call.
Nice to have an extra pair of eyes. Oh, there we go. Bolivia winning game 2, 15-8, defeating Team Ecuador. That was a tough match. I'd like to thank Tim Baghurst for joining me on the mic and offering his commentary. I'm sure we'll see you again either later today or for the rest of the weekend, because there are more matches that we'll be live streaming, including the semis and the finals in the next 2 days.